Entertainment news today. You're such a dragon gay. Everything sucks and it's no good. That comes out of Hollywood. But there's one place you can go to get all your news and info, and maybe even have a laugh or two. You know it's true. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark. All those bombs and flops, but need never stops. We will keep going through the night as we keep up the culture fight. Midnight's Edge after dark is life. We stand for nerds and geeks, we will survive. From Star Wars to Jurassic Park, it's Midnight's Edge after dark.
It's Thursday, or Thorsday, which is fitting because we just got news that there's supposed to be a Thor 5 in the works. We're going to discuss that and so many more Marvel things. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Welcome to Midnight's Edge After Dark. I am Tom Connors. Welcome to your favorite show on YouTube, whether you like it or not. We have Six here tonight. She must not have to work, so we get graced with her presence. We're so happy to have her here. How you doing?
That's right. Yeah, I'm doing really well. I've been sitting at my desk all day, lighting up doobies left and right, so I am feeling good.
When she says doobies, folks, she doesn't actually mean weed.
She's setting fire to the band, is what she means, the Doobie Brothers. She's actually
Yes.
got them tied up, she's setting fire to them.
She hates their albums, despite Mike, and just sits there and burns
Michael
them.
McDonald is now in flames.
Yep.
So how you doing, Six?
I'm doing all right.
Pretty good?
How are you?
Good. Doing all right.
Did you eat any vegetables?
Today,
And don't say popcorn.
does lettuce count?
Yes, it does.
Did you
There
eat like
was
a
some-
Big Mac?
There was some lettuce on my chalupa.
Okay, well that's good.
Yeah, but I did get it without sour cream, if that counts. Because I don't like sour cream.
It does count.
All right, well, that's good. And we got Nick here, all 32 flavors. I'm speaking of sour cream.
Yeah, sour cream and all. Hello. What's going on, Tom? Hello, Six, Mo, CC, 70s, Price. Happy to be here. Marvel's having problems. Another day ending, and why? I avoided a movie that apparently is bogged down in the message, so I said, fuck that shit. I value time and money. So instead, I took the kids to go to Wingstop, and then we went to Barnes and Noble after, and it was a good day and afternoon. So
I didn't even know you could read.
oh, I know, right? I'm retarded enough that I can read.
That's awesome that you took your kids to a bookstore. I love that.
Oh, they went nuts when they saw the size of the store. They didn't know where to start with the shelves. Like, where do we start?
Very
I was
cool.
like, you do it wherever you want. You use your imagination. And yeah, we were in there for about a solid hour because they were
Nice.
really thinking through the books that they wanted. And we spent about $100. It was great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to spend $100 at Barnes and Noble.
No,
No.
it does not. I
There were
got
a few
them
places-
like 2 to 3 books each, and I got myself just one. As long as they were happy, that was what it was about. So
Yep.
So,
Good time with
Brian,
Dad.
welcome, that 70s rock
Well-
fan. You were about to say something, and
Good evening.
Barnes & Noble is one of the few places you still can get music on disc and albums.
can confirm.
Well, the Canadian equivalent would be Chapters Indigo, and there's very few of them left, and it would cost you $100 just to buy a magazine. Never mind a book, but
Jeez, a book.
a book. But yeah, well, good evening. I say it's an absolute pleasure for me to live in the same world as Mikko Rantanen. That's all I can say.
You're a little quiet. I just adjusted your volume.
Oh,
Hopefully
sorry.
that helps. No, I think I fixed it.
Oh,
I think
right,
you're a little
okay.
better now.
Damn audio! I've had nothing but audio problems since the
I got
last-
it now. I think you're more leveled out. If
Last
it isn't, let me
round.
know, folks.
the last round of Windows updates.
Right.
But,
They always mess something up.
Indeed. But anyway, it's a pleasure to be here.
D-Bud's calling you out.
Books.
Books.
Take a look at this book. It's about
What do they call
rock
books in
music.
Canada, CC?
Well, we have to read
Call
them
them
in
books.
French.
They're books.
That's the books are the things that have like writing on paper, right? Like
Don't you
absolutely.
don't you say it books?
books.
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 Like a booze? What's that all
What's that
about?
about? I
Yeah,
don't know. I
that's-
can't make up my mind whether I'm Scottish or Canadian. So it just
I don't
accent
know.
just
You're
wildly
Scottish
swings.
Canadian?
Just swings wildly. Bit
Books
like you,
are a little
Tom.
foreign to me.
You're a music man.
Swings wildly like you, Tom. I thought when you said you were happy it was Thursday that it's very appropriate because you're a little Thor today. Very
Ooh.
Thor.
Ooh.
I'm Thor while it hurts.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Just take big breath.
I do love big breath.
Everyone loves big breath.
For a second, I thought you were talking about breath. BREATH.
Well, of course we're talking
It's
about
the way you
breath.
say it.
Hey, Mo. How you doing, Mo? Hey, Mo.
Hey, hey, everybody. Glad to be back on. And everybody's talking about Barnes & Noble and music CDs. One of my greatest finds and losses, unfortunately, is I was rummaging through the one that my wife used to work at, and they had Shadows of the Empire, like the original run.
Oh,
Luckily, I ripped the CD in FLAC, so it's like the same quality, but I cannot. I have the case, but I can't find the gosh darn disc. You know, I have it somewhere. I know. I got it for like $15, and I grabbed that thing like it just. I was shocked. I was looking through soundtracks, and I was just like, "What?"
Dude.
But I have the lossless audio, and it's Jeff McNeely, right? Is the guy that did it?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, seriously, it was amazing soundtrack. I used to love listening. I still listen to it.
Dude, such a
But,
great game too. I'm
yeah.
glad I'm not the only one who had a bit of a Star Wars week this week. I finally bought Revenge of the Sith on DVD for the first time ever. The original OG DVD version. Yeah.
The DVD.
oh God. 20 years later it took me to get it. 20 years.
I got a Blu-ray.
I think
recently.
that's one of the only Blu-rays he didn't really mess with anything to the. I'd have to check on that one, but I think
That's
there's
why
only
I
like
didn't get
one
on
little bit that
Blu-ray.
he messed with, but it wasn't anything bad. I think he added just like 10 seconds of a scene in
Which
the
one?
elevator or something like that. Revenge of the Sith, because each one he's
Oh.
added like a little
Yeah,
bit
these
to
ones.
each one. Yeah, the original release in theaters of all the prequels, he's altered them when he brought them to home video.
that's the disc that I found under my bed the other day that I messaged you about, Tom. That I needed
Oh, yeah.
advice on how to clean it. It's the widescreen version.
If I may,
Oh.
to Davina Duckworth in the chat, Shadows of the Empire was much more than a game. It was basically everything but the movie venture from Lucas.
Yeah, they did all sorts of things.
It was amazing, dude. Prince Zeiser? Like his character was
Shizor?
Yeah.
Shizor, sorry.
However you say it.
I never knew how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, but the whole idea of everything was really cool, and it was just like you had your games, but the soundtrack, the imitation of John Williams by Jeff McNeely was just awesome. That's why I got it. I'd heard the soundtrack, but find it in the wild. I'm finding that disc. I have the case. The disc is somewhere. I probably put it in a Ramadex or some antiquated storage technique. I have it somewhere, but yeah, no. Shadows of the Empire was something they should really try to do again.
Whenever
thought
I
that was
lose a
really
disc,
fun.
I usually find them on a spindle of like burnt discs, because like back in the day I used to burn like a madman. And that's generally where I end up finding a disc that I'm missing, somewhere in the middle of a spindle. It's like, oh, that's where this has been.
See, I have to go back through, like right now, let's say I have Ghostbusters in my in my player. I have to go back to the last movie that I watched, and then I could find where the case is, and then because I just keep moving them forward, putting the disc in the next movie that I watched.
Oh,
So
well,
in the
I guess that's one way of
Ghostbusters
doing it.
case would be the last movie that I watched.
Yeah, that's a great point because my spindles of discs that I burnt or kept on a spindle is like the similar to the document pads of Kevin Spacey from Seven. Like I have so many. It's somewhere, but I have no idea where everything.
Yeah, I got a couple boxes of those, but I didn't give CC Karaoke a proper intro. But hopefully you're doing well, CC. We didn't ask how you were doing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good. I'm just enjoying the conversation here. I mean, I at one time I was also guilty of having towers and towers of CDs.
I can see that with you.
Yeah.
Still do.
Especially I used to get into live recordings, bootlegs of
Right.
bands, right? So I mean,
Mine was movies mostly, but yeah, like
yeah.
But
it got to the point where like I had to crawl over all the shit I had, so I have since cleaned house, you know.
that's my problem. I got too much shit.
Yeah.
What's going on with your channel, Cece?
He's got a new one now, and
It's
he's
back,
got the
but
original.
I have multiplied.
You have
I'm now,
two?
I now have there's two of me
Congratulations.
now.
Yeah, we got him wet.
There's the orange me and the blue me.
Who blew you? Sorry.
Oh.
Wouldn't you like to know?
And I was the one who kept it straight for once.
For a while. Hey, that was still pretty straight. We haven't gone over to the gay side yet.
This
didn't
isn't
say who
Toxic
blew him.
Tuesday. It's not that gay yet.
Not gay yet.
Couple of drinks and you'll be there.
Wait, what's behind this door?
Whoa.
That's what he said.
Don't nobody go in that door. And last but definitely not least, we have our orange fuzzy friend, Price of Reason. How are you doing?
Good. How's it going, man?
Good. We got a pretty full panel today. It's not used to
Yeah.
having so many folks on. How you doing?
Yeah, I had a big salad. I'm full.
I'm especially happy to see Six. I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
I haven't
It
seen
is
you
a
in
rare appearance.
forever. And I was just about to ask where Price is when Tom started the show and then you popped in.
He always shows up eventually.
Yeah. And because I'm a bitch, I would have left him sitting in the back sweating, but he
Well,
let
thanks.
you on right away. And I'm glad to see you.
He made it before the end of the credits, so
That's all that matters.
that's right. But with that, we actually have some Marvel stuff. We got a kind of a cornucopia. That's a word that I don't use too often.
A
A
basket. full of stuff.
cornucopia.
A
basket of-
melange.
A melange. That's another great way of saying it. So where should we start with this? Because like I said in the intro, Thor 5 is in the talks now. But it seems like Chris Hemsworth is pushing for a new director, obviously. He don't want to work with Taika Waititi again. I'm trying to find it here. I can't remember the name of the guy he had wanted to use, but yeah, so Thor 5 is in the works. No surprise there. Also, the X-Men movie is finally sounding like it's getting off the ground with the Thunderbolts director, Jake Schreier, for some reason.
That's not the name of that movie. It's not called Thunderbolts.
Oh, yeah, the new Avengers. And then, to top things off, we're hearing that Fantastic Four is still midst of reshoots, and the movie comes out in 2 months.
Ooh, man.
So that's our cornucopia of Marvel news right now.
Wouldn't like to be the editor.
Not to
on that
mention,
movie.
we have we're just over a month away from a Marvel TV show that has yet to have a trailer drop for.
Iron Fart.
Iron Fart,
Oh,
exactly.
I thought, when does Iron Fart come out?
Like the middle of June. So we're just it's like 40 some days away. We're just over a month away from it. Yeah.
Holy shit. I remember when that shit was filming.
That shit was filmed back when I was in high school.
Was running rampant. Man.
Exactly.
They were filming that when they were still making silent movies.
Yes, yeah. That's probably not far off.
They've got the Charlie Chaplin.
Seriously, you may as well not bust it.
Charlie
Yeah,
Chaplin's in it even. He has a
Director cut.
cameo.
The Charlie Chaplin director's cut. Yeah. Yeah. What are they? Well, it's obviously so good that they're trying to build the anticipation for that trailer. Anticipation.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I'm
Oh,
trying to be
Lord.
positive here. Come on, work with me.
I can't believe they're dropping it before Fantastic Four. If I was them, I'd bury it in like August somewhere.
Why don't they just cut it into Fantastic Four? If they're going to do reshoots in Fantastic Four, just edit Ironheart into it. The editor's got plenty to do anyway. Just throw it in there.
Yeah, or they could have edited it into Thunderbolts. That's true.
Mm.
Is it
but
required viewing for Fantastic Four?
I don't.
Like, is it going to lead into the movie?
It's
I don't know how. I don't see how it really could, considering how long ago it was shot, unless they did a bunch of reshoots.
It must have something about the Kang.
Well,
dynasty,
the first Steps movie's still doing reshoots, so don't put it past them to still be doing reshoots even on Ironheart too. I'll
Maybe,
put it
but-
past them.
Are they
If
not
they tell me
still-
that sorry, go ahead, 70s.
No, you were talking, mate. Go on.
I was gonna say, if someone told me that, oh yeah, they've been done with Ironheart for a while, I wouldn't believe them. Considering how most of the art things go through reshoots up until what feels like the week of, I won't put it past that one to not be any different from the others. I mean, why should we?
Well, here's the thing: is you can't really do too much with Ironheart because, as old as it is, that girl that plays her, she's a young teenager, isn't she? So she's probably 6 feet something now compared to what she's.
She's just applied for her pension.
Yeah,
really
exactly.
wanna see- I really want to see that show. I'm very, very eager to see Ironheart.
Oh,
I keep
you
saying
are,
it.
huh?
You are, I'll bet you.
It's like, all right, this is gonna be my break.
All right.
So,
What the fuck did you do with Price, and
Yeah.
how much is Disney paying you?
No, the thing is that I feel like it's going to be one of those pop culture moments that it's
Oh,
going to be
gotcha.
so bad.
Another She-Hulk?
Something like that. I'm expecting
Can't be as
something
bad
really
as that.
bad,
Can't be. as bad
and
as
that's
that.
why I actually am curious to see it.
I've heard they were
70s
still. I heard they were still reshooting Captain America: Brave New World. Is that true?
True. Yes. They're shooting that right alongside Revenge of the Palpatines.
Yeah.
See, I agree with Price of Reason. Watching Acolyte and Rings of Power season 1 and 2, it's mystery science theater, but like concentrated. It's like crack for making fun of bad movies. It's so much fun. So
Mm.
I have no doubt that it's going to be like on that level because the Acolyte was so bad. It was
it's
almost
fun.
good, but it was definitely fun to make fun of.
Here's why it's going to be on the Acolyte She-Hulk level. When it was filmed was around the time when stuff like She-Hulk was out. So this is created during the very, very peak woke era where they were just freaking bang this shit in front of us. They were fucking like, they were putting the shit out like they were hookers, letting out their junk and forcing us to look at their shit. So yeah, this was made during that time. And anyone thinks that this thing could be like dumbed down, I heavily doubt it, because even if you trim it down, I'm still gonna be full on because of the time where it came from. It feels like a lifetime ago when Ironheart was made. It feels like that, even though it really wasn't, but it just goes to show you how slow these last few years have been, because how much of it has changed, from when that show was made up until where now. It's gonna watch very badly just from the timeline setting alone.
Indeed. You can't polish a turd.
Yeah, I know. Let's do some super chats and then we'll get more into this discussion. We got FKHC 2005 sending in some love for Clobbering Times. Thank you for that. Sorry, I totally spaced out doing super chats. We had intros going for so long. Lost for Words has been a member for 38 months. Thank you for that. And then Deeple101 sends in 2 and says, ahoy all, it's Friday Eve. Let's have a great show. Let's indeed. And then Deeple101 says, Nick, go to Half Price Books. Mo books, less money. Do you have a Half Price near you?
Half Price
do.
of Reason books.
So
My books are better.
I do live by one. If anything, it's slightly closer, but I went to Barnes and Noble one because the book that I wanted was a brand new release, and Half Price doesn't really get them. And I'm not one of those guys who waits for it to get cheaper. If I want something, I want it now. I don't care about the price. I'm in the I want it now mode, and you're not going to take it away from me. So made for the kids, but I wasn't going to make 2 stops. We were already there. I wanted my damn book, and I told them to get whatever they wanted. And, well, there we were, off to the races. But I'm sure down the line there will be a Half Price trip, too, because our shelves are never full with books. We need more, 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 and more.
And then we got ActionCom sending in a super chat for $5. Says, Tom, I have a vision of you working on DVDs and Blu-rays the same way Willem Dafoe made money to live and die in LA. Am I off the mark? I'm going to confess something right now. I've never seen To Live and Die in L.A.
Oh my God.
Oh,
I
it's
have
a
it.
great movie.
I have the 4K. I
We
have
know
not
you
got a
own
chance
it.
to watching it yet.
And I think when
Um,
Action Com says he has this vision of you, I think he means he has a fantasy of you.
He's a counterfeiter,
Just to
you see.
clarify.
That's the thing.
He probably ran out of characters. Isn't that Mikey's music? Shut that door, Tom.
It's Police Academy. It's when they go into the Blue Oyster Bar.
I know, but isn't that what you play when Mikey comes?
I have, but otherwise I have he has
There, he's in the
like 10
chat.
songs.
See, you called him with that music.
Mikey has like
Nice.
10 songs. He's got like this. Olay, and that's just a quick one. And then of course he's got the full-on theme song too. You know,
Oh,
Where
you're
is
fired.
Mikey, by the way? I feel like I haven't seen him in
he's
a while.
probably it's post-tax season. See, here's the
Ah,
thing, Mikey. You ever seen that scene? You've seen the Jerk, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
You know, he's like, you can take anything off this shelf here, between the erasers and the pencils, but not above the line or below the line, right?
Right.
Mikey has this little amount of time every year that he can stream. There's before tax season and after tax season, and in the middle there's a little
Taco
area.
season.
Taco season.
I see.
We're gonna dub it taco season from now on.
Well, but he took a minute tonight to come on and fire you. So, Tom, it's been great talking to you, but you are unemployed. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
come back.
I was just gonna
By
go
the
watch the movie.
But Six is now in the supreme
By,
position.
by
in
the
top
way, I
corner.
want to say to Mexican Iron Man that not only did I see The Accountant 1 again recently, I actually saw The Accountant 2 on the day that it came out in the theater.
Price, you got a little smudge on your little brown thing on your nose. Just a little smudge there.
It's true though. I did do all of that.
Did you enjoy them? And don't say you should watch my review.
No, I didn't do
Let's
a
tell us.
review. I didn't have time. The original movie, I kind of liked it back in the day, and I watched it again. It aged pretty decently. I thought it was pretty good again. The second one wasn't as good as the first one, but as sort of a buddy action movie, it was serviceable enough. It was pretty decent. It's like it's a decent popcorn movie. I didn't dislike it.
Well, good. That first one, it's 9 years old, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what? Back in those days when they did like some action movies and whatever, I just took them for granted. Now when I rewatched it, I'm like, hey, you know what? This movie is pretty good actually.
Which
And
one? I
then-
missed what you were talking about.
The
Which movie?
accountant.
Oh, The Accountant. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Oh, why am I fired?
Unfortunately. Oh, well, God, it's really good knowing
I
you,
don't
Pricey
know.
Price, but yeah.
Why am I fired?
Mikey-
It's a 5 out of 5. I got you.
Mikey,
Okay.
can you fire me too?
Mikey doesn't want to know what I think of The Accountant. I liked the first movie, but it has issues.
His
I
tissue.
can't tell if he's saying it was 5 out of 5 or it was Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo,
Yeah. it was-
Mikey, how do you explain the DEI hire in the movie, though? Everybody's resistant to me in this, but it's like they're replacing... Like, the whole movie is built around this idea that this Chicky Poo has to figure out who the accountant is, who J.K. Simmons already knows who it is, and that's the whole gimmick of the movie, is if she can figure it out, she gets the job. So she's basically a Mary Sue. She's a brand new rookie.
How is that a Mary Sue?
Well, I have something different to say about it, and I'll just quickly give you my thoughts. Basically, that guy wants to retire, but he knows he has a responsibility, and he needs somebody in that role that, you know...
So instead of getting somebody he trusts that he knows has got a few more years in them, he gets some rookie he's never met?
No, I think that what he does is, and this is the logic of the movie, the fact that she had in her past juvie files that were sealed and people didn't know about, he kind of figures she's the person that he can sort of has some leverage over, that she'll do what he tells him to. So he gives her basically an option. He says, either you find out who this guy is, or I'm going to make sure you're not here. Like, you're fired.
That's not what the ending is, though. That's the setup. When you get to the end, you find out the whole thing was just a test.
Yeah, and if she would have failed the test, he would have fired her.
I don't think he would have fired her. I just don't think she would have got to be the person who was the liaison to the accountant.
Listen, it's an important job. I mean, it's basically he's part of this whole kind of conspiracy thing, because everybody thinks he's this great like director, when in fact that guy is just feeding him all the info. He needs somebody that like he has some leverage over, and he can somehow bring her on board to do this and replace him, because he needs to retire. I didn't hate that idea, and the fact that he brought somebody, you know, I don't care if she's what her ethnicity or what her background is or anything like that. I will also say that you know, more so in the first movie than the second one, I also thought that she wasn't, you know, bad looking, which always isn't a bad thing. I will say that in the second movie, I felt like she wasn't as good looking as in the first.
It's okay, Price. Just say it.
Keep on
found
digging,
her
son.
smoking. Just if you're a dig all the way. Just go for the bottom of the barrel. Don't hold back.
No, because
I'd
what
rather
happened?
hear you say, "Oh, Nick, she was fucking smoking hard."
No, because I mean, I've said this before. Nobody cast me in this movie. If somebody cast me in this movie, I'd have to go and work out all day and lose like 20 pounds. And even then, I probably shouldn't be in the movie. But when you're like a relatively young lady, and yes, it was some years later that they made the sequel, it felt like she was maybe perhaps could have done what I would have done if somebody would have hired me.
My favorite part of the movie is when he amortized the capital spending on the new desks for the office. That was the most exciting part.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the best part is when he's like sitting here going, so you have a home business, and how much of your home do you use? And then he's like, and they're like this, and they're like, that's the kind of accountant I want.
In the second movie, I will say that they gave John Bernthal a better, like a bigger role, and I did kind of enjoy seeing him. I like him. I like that actor, and I thought
Well, that's what I'm looking forward to too. Yeah, yeah.
So the buddy aspect and incorporating more of that actor, they certainly do it in the second movie. It's just whereas the first movie seems to have a plot that's moving along and doing what it needs to do, the second one kind of meanders around, and it's getting by on the fact that you like seeing those actors, you like the relationship like with the brothers, you like them, you know, in some parts even kicking some ass. These are things that I like, but if I kind of zoom out, there are some things that are a bit baffling about the screenplay for the second one, even though I'll tell you the truth, I still enjoyed the movie, but it could have been more tightly written, the screenplay.
But still okay, which is better than most stuff we get now.
It's better than a lot of crap. Like it does whatever you think it's going to do pretty much, and there's some enough like action and whatever that you just kind of, you know, let things slide even when things are a bit fishy.
I still like the movie overall. It's not that I didn't like the movie, and I get what you guys are saying. I get it. That's part of the plot. But since the movie was made in 2016 and I hadn't seen it till now, that stuck out to me like a sore thumb, is what I'm saying.
That's your issue? That was your big issue?
Yeah,
I didn't
that's
think
my
that...
biggest issue with the movie, which I'm saying it's a good movie otherwise. That's it.
I thought I actually saw it years ago and I thought it was like pretty decent. And when I watch it now, I actually liked it better. Still not perfect, but I did like it better this time around. And the second one, I give it less points than the first one. Still a decent popcorn movie, if you don't think about it too much.
And I like those kind of movies. I really need to check it out. I mean, this is somebody who enjoyed watching Double Impact and you know, Bloodsport, and just something that is just escapism. Give me pure escapism without much thought, and I'm there, man. That's why they call them popcorn movies. You're done with your popcorn halfway through the movie because you're just into it. So if it's that kind of movie, I want to see it. We need more of those kind of movies. We don't need high art. You know, there's a place for it. We don't need the Avenger. Sometimes we just need something that just takes us away from real life for an hour and a half.
Yep.
And I'm all for it.
Sometimes it's good to just go full on Ricky Retardo and embrace the retardation. I want to be full superhuman retard strength. Like I want to be like doing like the Frankenstein walk. Like I want to see them be like, oh man, that shit wouldn't happen in real life, but it's fucking awesome that they did in this movie. I want that. Like the best, I mean, I think someone brought up at FNT last week when Dolph Lundgren did that jump over the car and Showdown Little Tokyo. It so would not happen in real life, but it's so great because like you roll with it because it was the 80s and The movies were just there to simply have fun, not think too hard about being bogged down and trying to be some pretentious French art piece and worry about the sophistication of bullshit. Just roll with it, bro. There'll be flaws. That's fine. We can roll with the flaws. There'll be beautiful flaws, but the tremendous stuff will be oh so tremendous.
That's good.
Yeah. Whole thing of like know thyself. If the movie is aware of itself and what it's trying to do, I'm okay with that one. It's trying to think like Cowboys and Aliens could have been a fun movie, but it took itself too seriously. Like it was too serious of a movie for the premise. You know, obviously we all believe Olivia Wilde is an alien. Look at her, but you know, it's just I want more of the just hey, it cost about 10-20 million to make. Have fun, guys. I want more of that.
You're
Like, I think
describing
people
many
are
of the
trying too
movies.
hard nowadays.
You're describing many of the Korean movies I like, because that's what they're like. They don't cost as much as Hollywood, and they're a lot of fun.
Speaking of
And
movies,
Taiwanese and Hong Kong and other movies like that.
I watched last night with my oldest. We watched a movie called Flow, and it was fantastic. It looks like it was an indie movie made by this one dude who has and it cost him like $3.5 million to make. I looked into it a little bit. It's an animation movie. It's about a stranded cat, and it's all animals.
Oh.
There's no humans, and there's no dialogue. So for those who are saying, what streaming
Oh, that
service
one.
is it on? It's on Max. It's an hour and 25 minutes of your time. Watch it. It was excellent, especially if you're a parent out there and your kids are looking for a good movie. My oldest, she turned me on to a movie. She's like, "Oh, Dad, you gotta watch this movie." I'm like, "Oh, let's see what you got." And then we watched it. I'm like, "Wow, this is fantastic." And then it was funny because after the movie is over, she was like, "Oh, Dad, look, the guy whoever made this movie." He understood why the creatures act the way they do because she understood all the mannerisms of all the animals in this movie and their instincts and what makes animals tick and their little characteristics. And she was saying how the guy nailed all those aspects, which, you know, it's funny to hear from her, those type of things. I was like, wow, okay, so this guy clearly not only put thought into the visual style of the movie, but also into the stories and also like nailing down how animals actually would act if they have to survive together in the wild.
It's a
Kind of like Nick in a bar.
It's like an Eastern European movie.
Nick is an
What were
apex
you-
predator in a bar. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. What were you saying, Brian? Sorry.
I think I haven't seen it, but I think that's an Eastern European movie. Flow.
I don't know what
The guy
country's name,
used-
but it's
the
on
guy-
Max. Just look up the poster.
The guy
Flow.
used
It's got a kitty
open-
on it, a black
he used
kitty
it-
on it.
He used open source software to make it. to animate.
Blender. It's called Blender.
Yeah, that's
I
that
think.
one.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think it won an Oscar, if I remember.
It
right.
did?
Didn't it win?
Oh, I
think
didn't
it won
even
Best
know that.
Animated Feature. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that
If it didn't win, it was definitely nominated. That I know.
Wow. Okay. Hey, a movie like that, cool. It's about time real shit gets recognized rather than just everything.
I was
else
correct. It
being
did win the
expected
Oscar.
stuff.
Thank you, Mecha J. Yes.
Wow. Had no idea. Sweet. No,
I
good
couldn't
for that
remember if
movie,
that or
'cause it
the
deserved
robot
it.
one did, but yeah.
Oh, the Wild Robot. That was
Yeah.
excellent too. That was really good.
Anyhow, we got Go 141 who says, Tom, make a seal of approval called Not Crap. Well, there's a lot of movies that I would say are not crap, but I still have issues with them. See.
Would you say that there's more movies that you would say are crap?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Even though I love movies, I love to also
Hate on them?
not hate on them. I just love to break them down and ask what they're really all about.
And really just put them under your thumb and
Yeah,
tell them who they are.
that's right. It's
Put 'em
their
in their
job to
place.
entertain me. Six. This is
I know.
the thing is though. It's their job to entertain me, right? Like, look, I get it. The one thing I hate more than anything is when some dumb fuck goes, "You need to quit being like that because so many people work so hard on this." It's like, yeah, it's not like it's a painting by a 6-year-old, you dumb fuck. like I'm not going to sit there and say that kind of shit about a 6-year-old's painting, but if you spend millions of dollars on a production with hundreds, if not thousands of people working on it for a year or more, and this is the best that you can come up with, guess what? You're going to get my the worst of my criticism because you deserve it. Even if I love something, I'll be harder on stuff I love sometimes, and that's kind of what got us here in this community, right? Like, I don't give a fuck about Twilight. I don't give a shit about Harry Potter and all that other stuff. I know people in our community do, though.
That's why I'm here.
Right.
To care
But
about
I mean-
the things that you don't.
But I mean, I used to care about Star Wars. I used to care about Star Trek. I used to care about these other things like Marvel, which we're, basically supposed to be talking about now. But that's just it. Marvel's in such a state of apathy that people just don't give a shit. And I'm really curious to see how bad Fantastic Four is going to really do now. Because even though people are talking about Superman nonstop, nobody's talking about Fantastic Four. For better or worse, which to me shows that nobody gives a shit.
Yeah,
At least with Superman, people care.
There's no passion.
I'm
anymore.
skeptical. Superman's not gonna. See if I'm wrong.
See, the one thing I like about
do
Fantastic
it?
Four is the past future, like the 60s vision of the
The re-
future. I
yeah.
really
The
like that.
retrofuturism, and that's
That
funny
does
because
look
that's
good.
Go ahead.
that's something I said that was going to make a comeback here. I predicted that like a couple of years ago, and I said that was Star Trek's biggest mistake is they didn't lean into the retrofuturism of the original show.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can do it and it not look corny. Fantastic Four shows you that. That's exactly what I've been talking about. Is you can do that style. They're getting that aspect of it correct. I'm worried about every other goddamn thing they got going on with it now, especially if they're reshooting it this close to the movie coming out. It's like, why are you still doing reshoots?
Hopefully, they're giving female Silver Surfer a little more, ability to steer. If you catch my drift,
Mhm.
she's looking a bit substandard.
I haven't
Especially
seen
for the
this one in
60s.
years.
She needs buoyancy devices for a surfer.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Well, Nick, I'm sure, has got something to say about Silver Surfer, female Silver
Ooh, what's
Surfer.
50 Shades of Black?
I don't give
I
a
don't
shit
want to
about
know.
I really
Equalizer.
don't care about the movie. Seriously. I just don't care.
So we're getting the same director then from the Thunderbolts
Mhm.
bomb for the X-Men. Who thought this was a good idea now?
Hmm.
Because let's
I
see what
don't
this
know.
guy has done.
The X-Men is probably a good idea, but
At
Oh,
least
yeah,
they're
it
calling
definitely
it
is.
X-Men,
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
so-
not X they them.
Okay,
yeah.
so
well,
this
it's 'cause
guy-
Victoria Alonso's gone. She was the one who was
Yeah.
pushing
So there
for
was-
the mutants.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah.
are going to call it X-Men.
Even Kevin Feige, he went address them as the X-Men back in 2019 when they did the whole Phase 4 announcement. He just said the mutants are coming, and I remember thinking that was really weird how he said that, but everything else is directly addressed by the proper names.
Why
And-
the fuck did they hire this guy?
probably
what they
because he
seem to
likes to
do.
bend over and do what
He-
he's told.
I think so, because I'm looking at his history. You know what this guy's biggest claim to fame is?
What?
He directed Robot and Frank. Do you know
What?
what that movie is?
No, what is that?
It's a movie from like fucking 20 fucking years ago.
I suspect he's more into Frank and Beans.
Is he
than,
like an
Robert
indie
Frank.
director type of deal?
Okay,
The same
2012.
way-
It's got Frank Langella. Yeah, other than that, Paper Towns is his other big movie.
No.
Mhm.
Never heard of it.
Shameless. He worked on the TV show. Otherwise, he's
What's
done a
he-
bunch of music videos for like Justin Bieber and Kanye West.
Oh,
I
dear.
think you answered
Which
your
season of
question,
Shameless?
Tom. I mean, to be fair, it's not the first time you have music video directors work on a movie. However, I
Oh,
think
Russell
I think
Mulcahy.
your answer lied in the question. He is cheap to afford. He is
And
cheap
easy to
and
control.
And
He,
he
he's
can be- yeah,
easier
he
to control.
yeah.
So he's not going
He's
to have as much
producing.
pushback because
Yeah.
when you look at a guy, and I'm not saying this as a diss towards Jake Schreier, but you got to look at it as okay, because he doesn't have as much power and influence, they can use that against him because like, well, he's the one who also wants to make a breakthrough. So he needs us more than we need him.
He's
If
disposable.
he says no, we can dispose of him, and someone else will take his place.
But Six has asked a good question. Who's producing it?
I don't
And
know for
who's
sure, but
writing
I'm
it?
assuming Kevin
Who's writing?
Feige. Writing, I don't know.
Yeah,
because
that-
that's who's going to be in control. The director, they're just going to, program him up, push his button, and he's going to
That's
go wherever
true.
they tell him to go.
That's a no. Six hit on really something really good there because
Look, my
in the
point is he ain't
MCU
no fucking Bryan Singer. That's my goddamn point.
Well,
Say
we
what you will
know, but-
about him, think what you will about him, but that's not like when he
it's
got
almost pointless bringing in a singer too, though. Think about it. Look at exactly the result with Sam Raimi. These directors are no longer
Bryan-
directors for the MCU. They
Bryan
are
Singer
there
was-
to push the stick of what someone else wants. And I get it, like to a point when you gotta like maintain, let's just say, continuity, characterization, fine. But the directors gotta at least have some sort of say in the movie. But it feels like the directors now are just there to fill the position.
Bryan Singer threw a lot of parties.
Were you in any of
I
them?
don't
Chris?
doubt it.
Are you allowed to do that still, or is that?
I don't know, but I feel like a lot of people talked about those parties. No, isn't that the reason why
wanna
we
talk
never
about
hear
'em
from
now?
that guy again?
Well, I heard Taika Waititi's like to have parties too. He was filmed on deck with several triple-breasted ladies.
Okay, you're talking in code. Everybody likes to have parties. What are you talking about?
Did he have parties or did he not have parties?
Oh, that kind of party.
That's a
Those
good
kind
one.
of parties. Yeah, he had some parties. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought that Bryan Singer had parties, and that's why we never hear from that guy again. I actually am surprised. I would have thought that more would have happened based on what people said, but he just kind of disappeared.
Well, I
don't
hope you're
really
wrong.
know.
Otherwise, Tom's channel is going to get taken down.
Well, I didn't say anything. I was just saying that he threw parties, and I don't know why he disappeared. That's a very, very vague statement.
He's Jewish and he's bisexual, according to Wikipedia.
It's
Mm.
perfect
That
for
kind of
Which
Hollywood.
is very hireable.
Ah, okay.
You know, I don't think that either of those things are what would have made the party problematic,
No,
but
no.
I am going to leave it right there
Ooh.
and shut my mouth now.
So he's
Okay,
the
I
one at
scrolled
the ice
further
cream
down.
truck who picks the poopsicle.
Oh dear.
Neither of those things would have gotten him in
He
hot
was-
water. It's something else,
what-
but I could be wrong.
He was
Maybe I don't know
taken
what I'm
down
talking
like
about.
pants at
Hire-
a Diddy party.
Wouldn't hiring a cheap, controllable director exactly be the kind of person who attends and does these things? Because they
He
kind
has-
of like I said,
Parties?
they bend over.
He has no credits since 2019.
Yes, yes. Since the Me Too movement or whatever it is, I feel like he disappeared. Probably a coincidence.
Wow.
Well, that went deep pretty fast.
I know.
Now let's talk about the power mechanisms in Hollywood. Yeah.
At least we could say for once it wasn't me who brought it to this level. It wasn't me for once.
No, and Tom is loving this. Tom is absolutely loving this.
Oh, you know it.
He wants me to continue to do this. He loves when I do this on his streams, and he's giving me
He
me
just
carte
shuts up and
blanche.
lets you talk. Yeah.
We never say he did. He did he? Did he not?
Did he?
Or did he not?
He wants me to talk more about this issue.
Reminds me of that South Park episode where it was Satan's birthday, and then he wanted the Ferrari birthday cake, but he couldn't because Diddy already did it. And that sentence, "Come on, damn it, what didn't Diddy do?" Like I'm like, man, that line has more meaning now than it did back when that episode was new. What didn't Diddy do? Because
This
everything
stream,
Diddy did
this
it.
stream's
Diddy
going to
did
get taken down like trousers at a Diddy party.
it. Ah.
And now you just said it.
Woo! Hot dog.
So what are you? It's the
Well,
same
we're
guy
in
from
the
the
pool.
Thunderbolts, and now they want him to do the X-Men. Is that the idea? I think that's what you're saying, right?
What about the Thunderbolts?
Oh, God.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring us back to the original
Oh,
story.
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
abandon
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Ask it again.
You mean we were talking about something?
Oh yes.
Yeah, okay. So that whole situation is that I saw the Thunderbolts, and I will say that compared to a lot of the movies that all the terrible movies that have been out in the past few years from Marvel, this one was mildly watchable. Now, that's not a ringing endorsement, and it's not a reason to take this guy and give him like a more important movie. I think that they should have just said, oh, hey, wow, like we were able to make something that's mildly watchable, instead of sort of cutting their losses because they're not making money at the box office anyways with this. They should have found a different director. But it's like you guys said, maybe Kevin Feige just wants his yes man, the same type of guy that he could come in and say, I need to reshoot this. I need to reshoot it again. I need to reshoot it again. And
they
that's
will
that's how
follow
the movies
suit.
are made now.
I have a feeling they probably asked some, and I have to emphasize the word, they probably asked some other directors, and I bet you some of them said they don't want to do that because it's clear that Marvel's starting to have a stigma about how writing and directorial is, and the way everyone's a hired gun, for better and worse. And a lot of those creatives, whether it's in writing, producing, editing, acting, I think they're starting to outweigh the cons over the pros.
Yeah, but
Movies,
in a
because
se-
now
yeah.
if your movie tanks, now it might kill your career. I mean,
So
we
It's a
haven't heard about
graveyard.
Chloe
It's a
but
Zhao.
graveyard for directors and for actors.
We haven't
Who
heard
wants
about
to be
Chloe
involved in
Zhao.
these movies now?
but
We
in
haven't
a
heard about
sense,
Chloe
they
Zhao
don't.
since Eternals. Go ahead,
But, you know,
70s.
there's a world where this is the right thing to do because Disney and Marvel have had the directors that have put their stamp all over things, and it's been miserable. You look at Taika Waikiki, is he? Whatever he's. So maybe when they're churning out all this stuff, it's better to have a up and coming director that's going to take direction from the studio and say, this is how we want it, go off and do that, rather than have these idiosyncratic guys like Ryan Johnson and Taika Waikiki and whatever his name
Edgar
is,
Wright.
Waititi,
That's why it
that
didn't work
are
out with Ant-Man.
that are going to do their thing when they want to have something. I mean, I know it hasn't turned out that way often, but they want a certain look and feel for these movies
Yeah.
that makes them consistent with
Which
each other.
is
So
a
you
fair
want an up and coming
argument.
guy. You want
That's
an up
where-
and coming guy. He's cheaper as well, and
Yep.
we're always telling them to cut their costs. So maybe that's the right way to go. I'm just throwing that out there.
No, you're bringing up a good point because when I said are for better and worse, that definitely falls under the better of the category because there are pros to it. When you're doing a shared universe, having a consistent look and feel does make sense, and keeping characters in character. Granted, the MCU is not really doing that anymore, but it does make sense if they're actually doing that. But nowadays, now the characters don't act like the characters half the time. So in certain ways, that's good. But there's certain ways, you gotta have the director have some say. Let's just say maybe have some big action scene they might want to push. Something like that. You gotta make him feel like he's a part of the movie. Now, obviously, if a director let's just say decides, well, in this hypothetical situation, well, I want Daredevil to be blind more. Well, then, yeah, I get why Marvel would say, well, that's crossing a line here because that's who Daredevil is. He needs to be blind. It's an idea where you entertain with for nothing more than a short-term story arc. But you do got to remember there are directors who they see continuity as something that weighs them down rather than thinking, how can I use this to advance my own creativity and to push my own thinking first. Some look at it as a thing that weighs down their creativity rather than just stop being lazy about it. Because if you're creative about it, you can find ways to work around it. Because no matter how many ideas get done, there's always something that hasn't been done. It doesn't mean you have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes it takes taking a familiar idea and putting a new spin on it, and it comes off as a new idea as well. It doesn't always have to be a completely brand new revolutionary thing. There's different ways you can go about similar telling stories, but sometimes there are directors who don't want to get out of their own way. And I understand. This is one of the rare times where I sided with Marvel. I understand why they parted ways with Edgar Wright. I get it because Edgar Wright didn't want the movie to be in the MCU and he wanted to be his own thing. And I get it for Edgar on a creative standpoint, but the thing is, he was walking into an MCU and they wanted that to be part of the universe. This is what he signed up for. Can't just decide, well, now I want to do it this way. This is what you signed up for, dude.
And I'll tell you who did it well from a Marvel perspective would be Kenneth Branagh, who's a very noted director and actor, but he made a Marvel movie. He didn't make a Kenneth Branagh movie, if you know what I mean. So they got a good director who did what they probably did what they wanted out of it. Although he's a well-known name, so anyway. Whereas if you get Taiko Titi or whatever his name is, he's going to make.
I'm glad you mentioned him, 70s, because his own stuff, like What We Do in the Shadows, the movie is pretty good. He's one of those guys where his Marvel stuff is awful.
Yes.
And I've had the same problem with comic rides. There's comic rides where I will hate what they do with Marvel, but when they have, let's just say, their own books, I'm like, oh, hey, this isn't bad. Are you sure this is the same writer? And that's where you learn these are guys who don't really care about these stories, but when it comes to their own shit, it can be really good. And I see Davina Ducker mentioned Marvel doesn't want quality. They want like the funny part is now they're getting neither. Now they're getting neither. And I get it. You want money, you're a business, and it takes money to make things move and turn. But guess what? You also have to put in quality. It doesn't mean every single thing is going to succeed, except for when once upon a time that was true for Marvel, but that was a rare moment in Hollywood that will probably not repeat for a long time. But now, because they made all the changes that they did, now they get neither. And it's going to take them a consistent string of hits before they can have any goodwill of, let's just say, getting people to maybe come back. Because I've said 100,000 times on streams, when you push your fan base away and people will walk away, some will come back, but the rest don't. It will never be what it once was. And that's Marvel's best case scenario in the possibility that they do get, let's just say, a string of hits. They'll get some people back, and maybe they can try to win over the next generation, we'll say, but they're never going to be the juggernaut that they once were. There's not one property that exists out there that, let's just say, had a second shot where they became as big as they were the first time. You've had stuff that has come close and some that maybe had a chance at winning more people back than not, looking at you, Star Wars in 2020, but it never is what it once was, and that's unfortunate. 70s has to go. Tom's still not here, so I guess I'll be the guy who says,
I'm here. I've been just kind of listening to you guys and
Oh.
letting you roll with it. I don't have that much to add to this shit. I've said a lot of what I have to say. But go ahead, Brian. Yeah,
Tom's the ideal director for this show.
Sometimes when you guys get rolling with Marvel and stuff, I know it's just best to get the fuck out of like Nick's way. So
But thankfully, we have a great producer in 6, so at least we've got something.
there you go. So Brian, you got dinner.
I do have to go for dinner. But please, everybody, if you check my channel out if you have not already. Lots of stuff on there, but various things. Got a couple of new Korean movies I've reviewed recently. Got a series of shorts. You can check my shorts out on my vinyl collection. Every day I do.
I did a bunch of
Different
shorts of
record.
shorts.
Yes.
Oh wait, yours are actually like records though. Okay.
Yes. Next.
Mine were physical shorts.
Next Monday on my channel, my regular 3 p.m. Mountain Time slot, we will be having an epic show about the movie The Wild Geese. Classic British war action movie that it was like the Expendables before anybody had ever thought of the Expendables.
Can I get a spoiler? Do the geese live?
Do the geese live? I think most of them do actually, although a lot of the ducks don't make it.
Oh, that's sad.
But yeah, Richard Burton, Roger Moore.
Roger Moore. Wow.
Roger Moore, you know.
My name is Bond, James Bond.
Why would you want
Richard
less when you can
Harris.
have more? Roger Moore.
Anyway, that should be a lot of fun. That's a movie I wanted to talk about for a long time. Anyway, have a great night, everybody.
Enjoy your din.
I will. I'll see you all later over on Comics Division tonight, Thursday night throwdown. See you later.
All right. Take care.
All right.
See ya.
All right. So let's keep moving here. We've got a couple super chats. We got this one already. We got Connor Dorian who says, "Did you see the trailer for upcoming Stephen King movie adaptation, The Long Walk?" No, but I've heard this is a one that was coming. This is one that they've tried making a lot of times. I don't remember what got in the way of it, but I have not seen the trailer yet, Connor. I should check that out. Has anybody here seen it?
I saw some stills from the movie. They must have come from the trailer. I didn't know they had put out a trailer. It's a good story.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it, and there was a time where pre-Twitter where I would have had my ear to the ground for any Stephen King movie or adaptation of a movie.
He's different.
Yeah, yeah.
There's some big stars in there, isn't there? I'm looking it up right now.
I know not.
Yeah, I
Not
just
familiar.
know that it's
Mark
just
Hamill.
been- yeah, he's in it. I do remember seeing that now that you mention it. And trying to remember what kept this thing from being made for so long. I'm trying to remember now.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. They're all together.
What? See?
No, I agree.
Well, you said he's different, and he's hanging out with the other people whose brains have also been invaded by the parasites.
Yeah. I love Mark Hamill. Because I don't follow him on Twitter.
I was gonna say I muted him. Yeah, that way I don't have to deal
I
with it unless he
remember
says
him
something
and
really
Stephen
stupid.
King Twix several times, and they keep coming back. It's like they're
King is
like-
another one I mute. Yeah.
They're like, I can't quit you.
Hopefully Mark Hamill learns his lesson, but he won't. Daryl Brewer's in the house. How you doing, Daryl? Says Tom needs to pressure Nick to do Ice Pirates for Toxic Tuesday. Has Nick even seen Ice Pirates?
I have
Isn't
not.
that an ice skating movie?
I'll say yes and let you believe that.
Wow.
It's actually basically like Mad Max meets Star Wars. What the hell? She just disappeared. Six, get back here. It's like Mad Max meets Star Wars. It's like a parody though. It's like a satire.
Oh, I can't wait to watch it. It sounds great.
It came out in '84. It was a movie that didn't do the greatest. I'm trying to remember. Was it Robert Burke? I think is the main guy. I'm trying to remember who was the main guy in it. It was written by, I don't know if Bruce Valanche wrote it too, but he's in it, and it's got a
Bruce
yeah, and God, what's his name? Ron Perlman is in it, and shit, who else is Angelica Houston in it too? I think yes, if I remember correctly. So yeah, it looks basically like if Mad Max threw up all over Star Wars. That's basically what it looks like.
Ice
Sounds
Castles.
amazing.
Ice Castles is what I was thinking of.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
was half right.
I figured there's like 20 fucking ice skating movies with ice in the title. There's that other
Yeah,
one with what DB Sweeney and what's her face. What the hell is it called? Where they're he's like the hockey player and she's the
Oh yeah, I remember
figure
that one.
skater. I'm trying to think of the name of that one too. Something Edge or something. I can't remember now.
Living on the Edge.
No, it's the Cutting Edge. The Cutting Edge. Thank you, Vorpal Bunny's Revenge. Marvel is on a drive to kill superhero genre, says Kalekioki. Well, they're if that is their goal, they're winning. I feel like Feige is petty enough that he'd rather see it burn than to give competition a chance. Well, here's the other side of it. Is Feige's kind of vicariously, from what we're understanding through these leaks to the Washington Journal or whatever it is, or whatever one it was, WSJ, that they're throwing Disney under the bus, saying Disney's demanding too much of Marvel, and Kevin is being spread too thin. So this is why Marvel has suffered over the past few years. Yeah, it was a Washington State Journal or whatever article that came out with a bunch of inside sources from Disney. Which usually means, especially when they're making excuses like that, it's somebody within his camp probably put that out there. So I'll see if I can find the article for you.
I mean, Kevin's in
sent it to
charge,
Andre.
so if he's spreading himself too thin, he's doing it to himself.
I mean, is he in charge or is he just good at doing what people tell him to do?
Oh, Kevin Feige?
Playing the politics.
Probably a little bit of both. If I had to take a very educated guess, I think it's definitely a little bit of both.
I would say somebody that wears a baseball cap with a business suit is probably okay with being treated any which way. It seems like he has no
He
standards.
gives the dicking and
Oh,
he
yeah.
takes the dicking.
Yes, I was gonna
Exactly.
say, man has no standards. If you have a baseball cap with a business suit, your standards are very low. So I'm saying yes.
Well, and I was looking at the screenwriter for the X-Men movie, and it's the same guy who wrote the Hunger Games prequel movie that came out a couple years ago, and I believe that flopped like a
It did. It
dying
didn't
fish.
even have a good opening weekend. So
It did okay, but it didn't do nearly as good as the other ones, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah.
because when we bring that up, that's the one exception we have to say when we say that what's her face hasn't had a hit.
Weird.
Rachel, because
Gosh,
she
I
did.
can't stand her.
Yeah, because technically, since she was in that last Hunger Games movie, it did make money. So, and she
It
did
did?
technically have a hit. Yeah, she did. It didn't make a lot, but it was profitable, and she had somewhat of a pop hit with that song that she sings in it.
Well, so was
So.
Thor: Love and Thunder. So
Basically the same kind of thing. Yes. Only Love and Thunder didn't have a pop hit. It did have Welcome to the Jungle, I think it was. Older
yes.
songs, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, Kalecki, I think you're right, and I think he's trying to throw everybody and anybody under the bus that isn't him. Go141 sends in 50 Mexican dollars or pesos, I think it is. It says, let's say the original team from MCU come back, including the committee. Would they even be able to save it? People are burned on the concept old.
No.
I don't think so at this point. Maybe, maybe not. I mean, I think you got to go scorched earth with this shit. Like I was saying, even with DC, and unfortunately, Gunn isn't even going completely scorched earth there either.
Nope, he's not. It brings it back to what I was saying earlier. You can bring some people back. Sure, you'll gain some people, but it's never going to be the colossal juggernaut that it was from 2008 through 2019. And that look at history. Just look at how history has played out. Anytime something that had a big fan base, let's just say, shit the bed, and then when they try to course correct and turn the ship, you see some people come back, but it's never as big as it once was. There's not one thing that's out there that shows that has happened. Once again, there's comebacks, sure, but it's never to the extent of the first run. And they need to do a hard reset, the same thing that they got to do with Star Wars, but they also got to do the thing that they won't do, and that's they need to have time pass, and that's something they're clearly both afraid of, is time passing. They both need 10 years away from these things. Hell, it kills them just to do 5 years.
I just don't know if it's ever possible again. My thing is like I'm getting to the point where I feel like it's not an artificial inflation. That's not really the term I want to put to it, but I feel like the MCU gave people, especially in Hollywood, let's say, but just people in general, the wrong kind of expectations to have for these films. It was an unprecedented run that nobody had ever seen in Hollywood before. It'll happen again in other genres, but I think this is the run. Not exactly, not again for comic books. Yeah, I think this was it. This was the one time you had your shot at it. They managed to pull it off. Otherwise, we're going to get back to a point where we're lucky if we get a Spider-Man or a Batman success again. I'm standing by that. I think we've reached the near end. Now, I don't think that comic books are going to go away as fast as Westerns did, and I don't think they're going to get as low as Westerns did. But I still don't think they're going to be the big blockbuster hits that studios are hoping and expecting them to be, outside of the rare occurrence of a Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah,
right. Those are going to be the exceptions.
Big guns.
Yeah,
it'll be the big guns. If the movies are good, it'll be the big guns. But it's no longer be a day where, let's just say, a movie like Ant-Man can, have a good box office run. Those days are done. They had a chance to get it right with Doctor Strange. They had it going. They had the right momentum after Infinity War and No Way Home. But then they shit the bed with Doctor Strange and the Mom. And now that damage is still fresh in people's eyes. So, yeah. And they could have had a rebound from that, because it was like, okay, there's a few duds, but we could still turn around. But the duds kept piling up. And now the ship has gone way too far on the other end. The tide is turned, and whatever the next trend ends up being, which I think it's be probably video games, movies, ones that I guess are more watchable at that. MCU needs to come to realize they're not going to be that juggernaut again. But it's cool that the people who made the money from it are not mentally letting that go.
And that's pretty normal for that to have that kind of thought process, because when they were like really absolutely just in their stride in the mid 2010s, if they had like a stinker, if there was like Dark World, or I loved the
Captain Marvel or anything like that.
I love the Incredible Hulk with Ed Norton. I'll fight anybody on that. I thought it was a fun movie because I'm an Incredible Hulk. I apologize a lot for Incredible Hulk movies because I grew up with the Lou Ferrigno show. So I'm a little more forgiving, but no, but I'm saying like you're pruning those off of the entire story when the story becomes sickly as a whole, and even the unhealthiest plant will still bear some fruit every so often. You got to know when to just let the plant die. And right now the plant is dying.
That's kind of what I've been saying.
Yeah. It's just like,
it's time to start fresh.
If bears want fruit every so often, they have a term called a zombie tree. I had a cherry tree in my front yard. It would do something for like about a month and then it would go back to doing nothing. I should have called it the Marvel tree, but it's pretty much where it is right now. It just isn't bearing much fruit at all. And if it does, it almost seems like it's doing it on accident.
So yeah, I don't think I agree with all that. I think that the Fantastic Four, if anything, would have been a good time to try and restart this fresh from a new perspective. I mean, you could still like build upon that, like the idea that this is a new multiverse world or whatever, but at the same time, we're going to start a new stream timeline and start in the 60s. And I've said this many, many times. Do it by like the decades, right? Bring in the X-Men and certain things like that, and then bring in Spider-Man and other things like that. Because even that stuff is kind of played out. Like, I don't give a shit if we really get another Tom Holland Super or Spider-Man movie. I'll watch it, but do I care? No. I think it's pretty much had its trilogy. Now it's done. You know, like we're all kind of past this now. You're right. It's bogged down in too much of the nonsense of the stories, and unless they started afresh, brand new with a completely new timeline that they can kind of restart and not get themselves so, you know, bogged down in all the weight of all the other shit, then maybe they'd have a chance. But even then, I still don't think it'll ever reach the height it did back in the day. Once in a while, you'll get one, like I said, but even Batman isn't even a sure thing anymore, because now we're getting more news. They're still trying to pretend the Batman 2 is going to happen, guys. I don't know if you heard about this.
It's going to happen.
I don't know. They keep pushing shit off to the point where it's looking less and less and less likely. I get it. But now it's supposed to begin filming in London next year. But the thing is, they don't have a director listed.
Oh, what? Go on.
So unless they find a fucking director, this movie is not going to happen.
What's going on with Matthew Reeves?
He's either sick or dealing with whatever personal business that's going on in his life. But
what?
And the fact that the shoot isn't even until next year, that makes me go, yeah, that's more than enough time to still cancel this thing if you can't find a director in the next 3 months.
Tom, wasn't it originally supposed to be shooting by the end of this year?
It was supposed to start shooting last year.
Yeah, and then I think they moved it to the end of this year. Now
this is like the 5th time now, and I'm not even exaggerating.
Early next year.
This is like the 5th time now they've moved it, and Script and I have been maintaining since like the 2nd time they moved it that this is it. They're not going to make this movie. And I heard a couple weeks back that the movie's dead, which means they could be trying to find a director now. That's what I think is happening. That's the only hope the movie has, is if they can find a director who can jive with whatever it is that Matt Reeves wants to do. And I still have yet to hear that an actual script has made its way to James Gunn's hands. So that's why I'm maintaining that I'm still not convinced this fucker is going to happen. I mean, they may even be doing this shit. And I wonder if Mikey's still listening. Is this the kind of thing that they would do, is they would set all this shit up so when it does get canceled, they could write it all off on taxes? Since they actually spent some money on the production, in quotations, if they put a deposit down on a studio or something like that. And that's the other thing, is it's shooting in the UK. Why in the fuck would you even set something up outside of the US right now with any of this tariff shit? If I was Hollywood, I would put a dead fucking halt on everything and be going, okay, we need to reassess where we're shooting everything in the next 2 years until we get this shit figured out.
Yeah, but they announced that it was being shot in the UK long before the tariff thing happened.
Even still, this is just a new thing that just come out like in the last few days. Like they supposedly this is how people know, is they put a deposit down on, can't remember which studio it is in the UK. So it's set to start shooting in that studio next year. But there's still plenty of time to cancel that. That's my point.
So
but what were you saying, CC?
Photo,
sorry.
No, I was just saying, oops. Like,
oh, okay, sorry.
Just take your cost and double it. What's the deal?
Yeah.
Well, or if Nick, you've already paid for it, you have to pay for it again.
So a few things. One, I just posted on my my separate tab on Twix. Yeah, it seems more and more people are talking about Matt Reeves being out from the Batman movie. And it turns out, yeah, we did hear right. It was also supposed to start filming at the end of this year, and that they did move it again to 26 next year. And then Six posted a photo in the privates. And if you look at the cast listing, not only is Matt Reeves out, but if you look at who's also in it, Paul Dano is back as the Zodiac Killer. Why? Why the fuck is he in that movie? Why? He was already the worst Riddler ever, and we're gonna bring him back? Holy shit, guys! We don't need Paul Dano again as the not Riddler. Oh, why? Worst Riddler. Worst Riddler
Well,
ever.
maybe he wasn't supposed to be the only villain. I'm really hoping that it's not like
Colin
on his
Farrell's
shoulders.
also listed under it too, so he'll probably have a bumped up role because of his role in the Penguin.
You know who I don't see listed is the kid who played the Joker at the end of the first one.
Yep, he's not listed under here. And you would think
because I bet they can't use him. That's another thing. That's another thing that's probably getting in the way of this shit. Is there's this whole stipulation thing because of Matt Reeves having a separate universe. Certain characters are off limits to the other side if they decide to make these movies. And the Penguin was one that they sacrificed, and so was the Riddler. But that Riddler is also a different kind of Riddler, so I think that fell into a realm of 25% different, as we like to say. But I'm looking at this. This is very generic, and I don't really see anything. Yeah. I don't know.
It looks very CYA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna press X for doubt on this movie. I think they need a director. I don't think they're gonna find one that's gonna be able to do this. So I don't know. We'll see. And plus, the longer this takes, the closer it gets to James Gunn's Batman, Brave and the Bold. And they're not going to want two competing Batman movies in theaters near each other. They're just not. But if it does happen, I'm still not convinced it's not going to go straight to HBO Max either. That was my initial thing that I had heard, was that it might just go straight to HBO Max.
Whew. If that's the case, and that's a major downgrade for real.
Yeah, but it makes sense because it keeps it out of theaters. And in the first movie didn't make. That's the thing. The first movie did okay, but it didn't do as well as they were anticipating. And I know a lot of people, especially those who like the movie, get all resistant and freak out when I say that. But you have a problem. The problem is the Joker made over $1 billion, right? Mm-hmm. There's no reason whatsoever the Batman shouldn't make equally as much, if not more. Because those two characters are so simpatico, and they're the two most popular characters DC has. Joker's even more popular than Superman, if you really want to break it down.
Maybe. I mean, here's the sad part is you have studios who can't even get these characters right. And a movie with Batman and Superman, I'm bringing up Zack Snyder again, should have been $1 billion hit. But we all know how badly the bed was shit on from that movie. Like, seriously, that shit right.
Well, BBS was on its way to make $1 billion. It was word of mouth that killed the momentum.
Yeah, I know. They had a huge opening weekend, and then the second weekend and the rest of the damage happened after. That should have been $1 billion hit. It should have been. I thought I was going to make $1 billion. Even though, I thought I was the only one at the time who thought it was absolute crap. I thought, as much as I hate this movie, it's probably still going to make $1 billion. Imagine my shock when I saw
Bill, the problem is Joker came out during the coof. Right after, whatever it was.
Joker,
or right before, whatever it was. Was it right before?
2019.
Well, not only that, Spider-Man and other movies have made $1 billion since then. So I don't buy this. Movies can't make $1 billion since the Coof thing. I get what you're saying, Bill, but that's an excuse they like to use in Hollywood, and it's like, no, bullshit. Look at Minecraft. Look at other movies. You put them out there.
Spider-Man, Barbie.
It's things that people want to see, and they will get off their ass and they will go see them. Yeah.
Mario.
There was even some pretty decent-sized hits during COVID, right? I mean, Top Gun was the other one I was trying to think of.
Top Gun, Avatar, and then if you want to look at stuff that did in the 900 millions, Doctor Strange and the Mom, even though it had an opening weekend that was big enough to save it. But then you look at Jurassic World, once again, kids love dinosaurs. Despicable Me 4 did like 960 million worldwide as well. And that was the latest movie to do that.
And I think it would have done better than that had they left it in theaters. They pulled it for the streaming thing.
Yeah, so it's clear that it's clear that it's not an outlier, that there are many movies that can make close, if not more than $1 billion to do that. However, you have to have the movie that people are going to respond to do that. You can't just expect it to be out there and exist.
And the Batman didn't play well with little kids. That was the other problem. But those got to go.
Big one. Dark Knight can at least play well with kids, and that's a dark, serious movie. Well, it was very balanced in its tonality. It was dark, but you could still take your kids to see it because they had a lot of the violence didn't show for some of the Joker kills. But you
Well,
imagine
not only
in your
that,
head-
it's well. Anyway, Mo's got to go. So Mo, go ahead and plug your business.
Oh yeah, this is actually a really fun conversation. Apologies, I have to go, but doing my StreamYard sucks stream here in about 5 minutes. Trying to find a different alternative to this horrendous platform. I'm sorry, I cannot stand it, especially for how much money they're asking.
Right.
So we'll be doing that on my channel, Mo Zamboni. I also have a new channel called Mo's Game Room. And I'll
Mo's
be playing
Gay Room. What?
Game. Hey, that's what
I got one of those. See, look over here. Just over. Nick is always coming in here from that door. That makes absolutely so much sense now.
Well,
He never
I know
leaves. He just goes in that door and comes right back in.
the chaps are on order. They're not here yet, so that channel isn't ready. But Mo's Game Room is starting soon, so I'm going to be playing retro games. I have a lot of retro consoles, and I like playing current games. But looking forward to going back to the past, playing some old games on my Nintendo and Atari and stuff like that. So, anyways, got that coming up. Other than that, yeah, just doing this, and I have the Monday Hangover on Mondays, which is always fun. Other than that, thanks for having me on, and pleasure meeting CC Karaoke for the first time. Pleasure streaming with you.
Oh, you guys never
Yeah,
crossed
you as
over
well.
yet. Okay, well,
We
yeah.
have not.
Nope.
He's Canadian.
I'm originally from Northern Indiana, so it's hard for me to tell because we're basically Canada. So
I know what you
We're
mean.
very
We
close.
got the Upers
Yes.
here, and yeah.
yeah. So we got a little bit of the accent, but yeah, no, pleasure meeting you. So I am American, only just so, chat. So don't lump me in with those guys. So, anyways, thanks for having me on, and we'll see you on the next one. And have a good night, everybody.
Bye,
Take
Mo.
care.
Take care.
We do love our Canadians here at Midnight's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. Where did we leave off? I believe we got Jesus Davila, who gifted a membership. Thank you for that. Kamchi's in the house. How you doing? Says it's simple. Both Marvel, DC are dead to apathy level. Well, DC still has a shot with the Gunverse, but we'll see. Kalekioki sends it a 5. Says No Way Home was the first member Barry from Marvel. That's an outlier. There were 3 Spider-Men in that movie, and it was released twice. That is true.
Yeah,
Again, though, it's an
I got some
exception.
stuff to add to that. Here's the thing. It's an outlier for Marvel, yes. In the grand scheme of Hollywood, no. Also, when it was re-released, it already made 1.8 billion by the time it had been re-released to release 10 more.
Well, the re-release thing is kind of...
It was not something that they did after it's like, oh, hey, we need to... How do we hit that $1 billion? It had already been way...
Okay, well, Kalecki, and he's getting more into the point I was going to get to here. He goes, with another 5. Thank you, Kalekioki. Says, people never bring up No Way Home was released twice. The Batman is comparable to the Amazing Spider-Man films. Mid, the Batman was 3 hours. Mid and fairly woke. Oh, yeah, that's not even really what I'm arguing so much as, like, here's the thing with the re-release thing to me doesn't matter. If a movie is big enough that it gets re-released, then that's a win for that movie, and you can't really count that against that movie. It's a little different when we're talking like a Morbius situation when the studio totally misreads the meme. You know what I mean? Like the Batman, the Batman had problems. That was one thing I brought up from the start, the 3-hour running time. And that's also another thing supposedly that Zaz and the crew at Warner Brothers told Matt Reeves that the second one could not be 3 hours. Unless they probably put it on HBO Max, then that's a different story. So yeah, and that's just one of the problems. The movie had a lot of problems. It was too dark. There was no chemistry between Pattinson and Kravitz. The audience just didn't really resonate with it, at least not nearly as much as or any more than what did with the Snyderverse. And that was kind of what it was testing. And it did tell them that there was enough people that didn't care, that they could move forward without going with the Snyder shit, but it wasn't good enough to where they felt like that was the obvious answer to go forward with Batman. That makes sense. Then Kamchi sends in $1.99, says, I barely hear any buzz, especially the comics side. I think if you're talking about Fantastic Four, yeah, it's been like radio, like hardly anybody talks about it until we get reminded that there's a female Silver Surfer, or stuff about this comes out about reshoots, but still not very many people are talking about it per se.
Outsiders are not,
Yeah.
and outsiders are not. So I usually am pretty vocal about what goes on in my employer as to what normies are talking about, movie, pop culture wise, and there are starting to be a lot of people who are talking about Sinners, and there has been some keywords, some conversation about the new Avengers, aka Asterisk movie. There's been some, but there's not been one word spoken about Fantastic Four. Not even, hey, Nick, did you see this trailer? What do you think about it? I usually get people ask me what I think about a trailer, especially since a lot of them know what I like. Not one person asked me about Brave New World, The Great Reset. I did have some people ask about that one. I feel like that there's just enough diehards with the F4 that some will still see it no matter what because it simply exists. But as far as the normie audience, dude, the movie's gonna have to pull a miracle, which I don't see it doing. I really don't. I think at best it'll be a 7 out of 10 movie, but this movie needs to be better than a 7 out of 10 in order to start course correcting. And it's got way too much of an uphill battle to get there with a Surfat and a Pedro Pascal being Reed Richards.
What
Yeah,
was
all
that? That was some vigorous typing.
Man,
Yeah, I don't know
Tom,
what that
I was like,
was.
whoa, getting aggressive there.
That was not me at all.
Was it me?
I was muted.
Mhm.
All right, well, Price, I think it was Price. He does have to go. We're gonna wrap this up anyway because that was pretty much most of what I had. There isn't anything much more to really get into than that. We will have the morning show tomorrow, of course. Six, do you have anything going on that you want to plug at all?
No.
All right, Nick, what's coming up on Toxic Tuesday, and what else you got coming up Friday? I know you got a show.
Oh, Kung Pao Enter the Fist for next week. And by the way, for those who didn't make it, and I kept it a secret on purpose, for when we did Grandma's Boy, the star of Grandma's Boy, Ellen
Showed
Covert,
up.
who played Alex, showed up. I had actually known about it in advance. I just didn't want to tell anyone because it was something about it. Hey, those who truly choose to tune in on their own time are gonna to get the reward off showing up. So yeah, it was awesome to have the star of Grandma's Boy show up on stream.
I wish I'd watched it, but yeah.
So,
check that out, guys, on the replay. There you go.
yeah, next week is Kung Pao Enter the Fist at Klobby's Comic Shop Friday night. Yeah, Mecha J. It's in that first half hour of the stream. What's the first half hour? He showed up for like 10 minutes, and we got to have a great conversation with him. It was awesome. Seriously, he's a really cool dude, and his work is not done in Hollywood. He's got more stuff he's working on, which
Cool.
is good to hear. He was such a cool guy, and he was up front with us too. There was no bullshitting around here. No have to walk around eggshells. We could have a real conversation with him, which was the best part about it.
Awesome. Price, I know you have to run, so what do you got going on?
There's the Quantum Leap Revisited show on my live stream channel at 10 p.m. And then there is 11:45 p.m. The Night Owl. I'm sharing the link now to my live stream channel in case people don't know it's a different channel than my regular one. And if they're feeling especially generous, they can go and subscribe to that. But I got to run, so great being here. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for being here, Price. Take care.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Bye, Six.
You missed
And then
there was a super chat that came in.
Yep, I got it. I just wanted to let Price get out of here.
Okay.
Kamchi sends in $1.99, says, Bo, I think he means, no, I mean the Marvel, DC, even DC anime no one talks about. Yeah. Well, the animated DC side of things did have its own kind of fan base for a while, but they even kind of turned them off through a lot of their woke bullshit. I mean, they've just really turned off a lot of the mainstream fans when it comes to almost every avenue of whether they're comic book related video games, comic book related animation, comic book related movies, comic books. I mean, like, yeah, they've just really turned all their main audience off. Kamchi. That's very true. And then when that happens, nobody talks about them. So yeah. And CC, you got a couple of new channel, or you got a new channel and your other channel's back up, but you've been putting up a lot of new videos and stuff like that, haven't you? Or what you got working on?
I've been going really, really hard on the work. So, you know what? And I got the thing I was trying to get finished. I got it done right before the show today. So I'm going to just breathe for a couple days, I'm going to start playing Claire Obscure. I've been seeing nothing but how awesome this game is supposed to be, so that's my plan. I'm going to play this game and see if it's everything that people say it's going to be, that it is. It's a $50 game made by like 17 people. Imagine that. It's kind of like the Godzilla, right?
What was it called again?
Claire Obscure. I don't know how do
Claire,
you spell
like
that.
the name.
Claire or Clear?
Clair.
Claire, like the name. Okay.
Oh yeah, Claire.
Except without an E at the end, and then Obscure.
Right.
OBSCUR.
Okay. Is that the name of a character, or is it just kind of an abstract name for the game? Or
I am going in pretty blind here.
Oh, okay.
Just my
All
understanding is that like it's to Hollywood what Godzilla was, in that it's not an exorbitant budget and it's sold at a very reasonable price, but it's supposed to be really, really good. So I see.
Awesome. Well, hopefully it's good. You'll have to let us know. And with that, let's get on out of here. And thank you again, Six, for all your help today and the mods out there in the chat. And you guys for listening.
You're welcome.
Cute kitty. Available now for the first time ever on DVD from Midnight's Edge After Dark Productions. It's My Two Dads, the complete first season starring Mexican Iron Man Tom Connors and Culture Casino. Available now for $19.99 while supplies last.